Yaat eshik aro shidanesh nanisht ejitkachi initially. Greetings, my kin and my family. My name is Lyla June, and I'm from the Black Charcoal Streak Division of the Red Running Into Water clan of the Dene Nation. We are also incorrectly known as, thank you, Navajo. And I'm just really happy to be here. Normally I do a much longer introduction just to tell you how much I love you all, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it because, you know, this clock is ticking down. I already used 30 seconds. All right, repeat after me. We're doing a beatboxing lesson, okay? Okay, the first element of beatboxing is like this, like a horse, okay? 1, 2, 3. Good job, good beatboxers. Okay, next one is like a like a snake, okay? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, next we're gonna do like a, like you're calling your horse, like when you say kick. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, now try this. 1, 2, 3. And now try another one. We're gonna go like this. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're gonna put those two together. Let's try this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now, some of you in the audience need to film yourself doing that and send it to your grandkids, and they'll think you're the coolest in the world. But anyways, I'm just going to do a little music before I start speaking because I think music speaks to a different part of us. All right. We were all given sacred duties to this land. Take care of Mother Earth and she will help you understand that everything we need is in the palm of her hands. No need to drill, mine, conquer, or extract. With faith in the Creator, we will blaze a brand new path. When we let go of fear, the greed turns into laughter. Unity of all people, that is what we're after. I'm cruising down the red road with sweetgrass on my dashboard. I used to drug and drink, but now I'm sober, now I'm faster. Sharp as a tacky Tommy, can't hold me back now. I just want to build a new world for my children with love, prayer, and unity. This nation is rebuilding up from the ash of genocide and division. Red, black, yellow, white as one, that's the vision. Every race participates in this new beginning. Sacred is the masculine and sacred is the feminine. Infinite, indigenous, continuous, deliberate. Nothing can stop the people once they got their intention set. Some people say that the land can be owned. Some people say that the land can be owned. But deep in our hearts, we know that isn't so, because we don't even own this flesh or this bone. We can't take it with us on the soul's journey home. The only thing we own is the lessons that we know. So when we wake from the slumber to remember we are one beautiful people under one beautiful sun, we must also release all claims to the earth, because she don't belong to us. We belong to her. Yeah, Mother Earth was meant to be a place where we could learn. We pray to Khe Sapa for a blessing on the world. We practice Satyagraha because violence doesn't work. We pray for those who are injured and those who injure. Unconditional prayers for the whole wide world. We sun dance year round. Yeah, we let the cedar burn. Because when we pray for the people, we will start to understand what it means to be true woman, what it means to be true man. Cradled in the arms of the sky and the sand, I'm just a strand in the tapestry of the master plan, because together there is nothing that we cannot achieve. Together there is nothing that we cannot achieve. Can I hear you guys say that? Together there is nothing that we cannot achieve. Together there is nothing that we cannot achieve. Together there is nothing that we cannot achieve. Find love, find healing, find unity. Honjon nahasli, honjon nahasli, honjon nahasli, honjon nahasli. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna get through this kind of fast. But before I do, okay, I'll just take like 30 seconds to pray for our brothers and sisters who are losing their homes right now due to fires, and not just here in California, but all around the world who are having a hard time. So let's just take 30 seconds. You can close your eyes if you want, and let's just pray for not just the humans, but the other life forms as well that need our prayers right now. Okay, we'll start now. Thank you. I know it's hard for a lot of us in this conference now because we're seeing that wind blow, and we're like, dang, this is not the day for wind. All the fires raging, But, I know everything is going to be okay, somehow or another. Okay, so let's do this. I made a slide presentation. I don't normally do that. So, indigenous-led universities, it's my dream to create a university here in the United States, what is now called the United States, that is of, for, and by indigenous peoples. Because our sciences, our languages, and our worldviews are anything but primitive. They are highly advanced, highly sophisticated, and incredibly nuanced. We had a governance system that Ben Franklin looked at and realized would be a good idea, and that's how you got your American democracy, through the Iroquois Confederacy that had really wonderful systems of governance on this continent long before Columbus was a twinkle in his daddy's eye. We also have languages that are extremely rich. My elders tell me, Lyla, English is a very impoverished language. I can't talk in it. I can't say what I need to say in it. So the idea that indigenous peoples are primitive, as you all know, is a complete myth. We had vast civilizations right here where you're sitting. You might not see it because there's no pyramids left behind or aqueducts, but we tried not to leave marks on the earth that you could find hundreds of years later, because we knew if you left a mark on the earth, you had done something disrespectful. For that reason, there could be huge civilizations that occurred right where we're standing, but you would never know it unless you looked at the biodiversity. That's the one thing we did leave behind, was biodiversity. And most of the foods that nourish us today that you find in Whole Foods, those were our food systems that you all inherited. Okay, so that's just a snapshot of why I think universities that offer programming that uplifts our knowledge systems would be so good in this land, and would elevate, amplify, and perpetuate knowledge systems that are on the brink of extinction right now. So this is one such university. It's called Te Whare Whanangau o Awanui Arangi. And it's in Aotearoa, which is the true name of New Zealand. The Maori are always kicking butt, leading the way. This is their Maori-operated university for Maori objectives. And they have these campus locations throughout New Zealand. Some of the unique programs at Te Whare Whananga Awanuiarangi are Bachelor of Maori Performing Arts, Bachelor of Health Sciences in Maori Nursing, and a Bachelor of Education, teaching through the Maori language. So they're training teachers who will then go out and create full language immersion schools where kids, as soon as they walk in the door, will speak nothing but Maori. So these are really important because there are only 210 indigenous languages left in the United States and Canada, and of those 210, only 34 are spoken by the children. You know what I'm saying? So like the children, if the children aren't learning it, it might as well be extinct. So we really only have about 34 living languages in the US and Canada, indigenous languages. Do you know how many were spoken in the state of California before Columbus? Over 80 languages were spoken in the state of California alone. Okay, doctoral programs. They have Doctor of Philosophy in Maori Studies, Indigenous Studies, Environmental Studies, and Education. There's no equivalent to this in Turtle Island. I call the United States Turtle Island. It's a cool thing that people are doing. You should try it. It's nice. Because America is after Amerigo Vespucci, who was a pirate looking for slaves and gold. You know, okay, so these are tribal universities, right? But they're not the same because they're still funded by the very same government who tried to wipe us from the face of the earth. So we're still pandering to their standards and not really allowed to be who and what we are in these universities. I want to take it a step further, and we're working on this right now, where we indigenize both the curriculum and the instructional methods. So in other words, can we learn through ceremony? Can we learn through outdoor experience? Can we learn through community service? Can we learn through experience itself? Not reading about it, but doing it. Can we learn through projects and learn as a community? Also indigenize how we evaluate student success. Allow students to present their research findings through dance, through song, through film, through ceremony, through art, through architecture, through food production, and confirm and affirm that these forms of presentations of information are valid and true. Community elders define success and learning objectives instead of colonial institutions. So there's one school, it's a K through 5th grade school in New Mexico, where I'm from. And they did a survey of all the elders in the community, and they said, what is a successful human being? And the elders told them in their own language. And so all of their teaching is teaching to those objectives of creating a successful human as defined by the elders. Thank you. So one reason I really want to do this is to give our youth direction and purpose. As you can see, these are 3 different headlines of 3 different Native reservations who have declared a state of emergency because their youth are committing suicide at such a high rate. And I think if we had these universities, our youth would be excited because they would have a program that they're working on. They would have a master's degree that they're working towards, or maybe even a high school level type thing. And maybe their certificate or their degree isn't a piece of paper that said, congratulations, you graduated from this university. Maybe the degree is something more traditional, like this red belt. I got this red belt when I was 14, after I had my first menstruation. And this was their degree. They said, you are now graduating into womanhood. So we can rethink everything and give these children a place to learn where they're actually going to succeed and do well. Because they don't do well in the Western institutions because A, they're speaking English, which is not our first language, and B, we're talking about Columbus all the time, and we don't want to hear that. I remember in high school, I oftentimes had to fake everything. Be like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I write the paper, get the A, but I'm like, this is crazy stuff. So this is another reason to start these universities, is to honor our indigenous knowledge. This picture of all the children is very famous. Maybe you've seen it. Carlisle boarding school for Indian children, where they would basically abduct indigenous children in the late 1800s and force them to learn the white man's way. This is their school newspaper, the Indian Helper, as if you could help a person by debasing their culture and telling them everything they come from is worthless, which is what happened, as you all know. So I think these universities could be like the opposite of this, right? It could breathe life into our knowledge systems. It could say that these knowledge systems are worthy of learning. Say that these knowledge systems are important. Put them on the same level or maybe even higher as Western education and say, you know, these disciplines and these subjects that your elders have passed on for thousands of years, they are important and they are worth perpetuating. Here's another picture of, these are kind of famous pictures of an indigenous person before they went to Carlisle and after. Before he went to Carlisle and after. So this was the whole goal of the boarding school system, was to kill the Indian, save the man. I'm not even kidding. That was their slogan. We have to kill the Indian inside of the person and bring out the man that lives somewhere in them that is more like a white person. So I already said this. Only 34 languages are still spoken by the children. So I think this is really important to continue our efforts to bring this knowledge back. And that's honestly all I mean, I do have 4 minutes left, which I'm going to use. But for this portion of the presentation, that's what I want to share. And I'm hoping maybe that people in this room might find this valuable and might come talk to me and might work with me in building these universities, because we want them to become national, and we want children and young adults to be able to get real degrees that they can show to the world and say, hey, I graduated through this program that was taught by my elders, and I am now an educated person as defined by my ancestors. So that's that part. The second part I want to say in my presentation, and maybe you can turn the slides back to just my name so people aren't distracted by all those words, because, you know, words are boring. Everyone whip out their smartphone. If you don't have one, use your neighbor's. There was something that happened yesterday that I wanted to support in my small way, because the beatboxing I did yesterday came from the African American community. And the African American peoples actually, I'm going to ask you to Google something, 1 second. They married with Native peoples, and so we're really close. Most black people in this country have a little bit of indigenous ancestry, because we intermarried. And so I heard yesterday about something that happened, and I want to just lovingly, gently provide a little bit of insight into this. Can everyone Google, I do not see color? And then press search. And then scroll down a little bit. Raise your hand if you're seeing some Google results. Okay, a couple people. You're like, I need my hand to scroll. So these are some articles, because the I do not see color phrase, which is understandable, I understand where it's coming from, but it's really painful to our communities for many different reasons. So I would ask you to read up on some of those articles and educate, get a little educated about the conversation that's going around on that, because our brothers and sisters who are African descent in this country hear that a lot. They actually hear that a lot, so much that all these articles were written about it. So just put that in your pocket for later, and maybe try and learn a little bit about why that's a little bit hard for people to hear, and maybe think about different things we could say, because I know the intention in saying that is good. I know that. So we can figure out an alternative. I'm going to do one more song, and then we're going to get me off the stage. All right. You can put your phones away if you want. Okay. Indigenous people, shine your light, we are equal, yeah, yeah. I remember the days when our prayers were illegal. I remember the days when being Indian was lethal, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had a rough past, but get ready for the sequel. Get ready for the glorious comeback of our people, yeah. Rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I could feel it in my heart, can you feel it in your blood? I could hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up. All nations rise. Rise up, 'cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's our time. With forgiveness as my bone and my prayers as my arrows, pull it back and let go. I watch them fly like sparrows. Have hope, have hope. With compassion as my shield and faith down to my marrow, I will walk the pollen path even when it gets narrow. Yeah, yeah, resurrect. Yes, you can bet that we seen the single mama raising children on the res. We seen domestic violence tear apart what we have left. We seen the alcohol take it all and leave us dead. We've seen our children take their own lives when they can't take the dread anymore. Can't take the dread anymore. No, I can't take the dread anymore. So I won't take the dread anymore. Yes, it's a war, but we've seen it all before. And now we know we can change it, 'cause that's why we were born. We know we are the ones that we have been waiting for. Yes, we are the ones that Grandma has been praying for. So rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I could feel it in my heart. Can you feel it in your blood? I could hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up. Pueblo hermoso, levántate, es nuestro tiempo. No tienes que esconderte más, porque ahorita es nuestro tiempo. This next verse is in Spanish to honor all of our indigenous relatives south of the imaginary border. And also a prayer to close the camps where 7 indigenous children have died in the custody of the Department of Homeland Security along the border. On the count of 3, could I hear close the camps? 1, 2, 3. Mujer indígena, tú eres tan sagrada y traigas medicina de tu suelo todavía. A pesar del abuso de tu cuerpo y tu tierra, respetamos tus ancestros y la suya cultura. Hombre indígena, tú eres honorable y yo veo la fuerza que todavía sobrevive. A pesar del abuso de tu raza venerable, yo respeto tus ritos, tus danzas, tus padres, guerreros del amor y guerreros de la paz. Sí, no vamos a escondernos más. We are warriors of love. We are warriors of peace. And we will not hide ourselves anymore. All nations rise. Rise up, 'cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's our time. Yay. Thank you. Thank you.